Leave immediately. Staff entrance is around back. The receptionist doesn't blink when she says it. Her name tag reads Megan Price, and her finger floats over a red button like it's the only language she trusts. I raise my printed booking confirmation. Company letterhead, Carter and King Holdings, date circled in blue ink. The lobby light turns it into a little flag of surrender. Ma'am, I'm a guest. I say, calm and even. Click. She taps the panic button anyway. Across the marble, a couple in tuxedo and tool pause mid-laugh. A bellman slow walks his cart like he just remembered a fire drill from elementary school. I feel the familiar weight of my grandfather's watch against my wrist, second hand ticking steady, a metronome under my skin. I hold the paper a little higher. Ink time proof. None of it seems to matter here. Sir, Megan says, voice flat as a receipt. This counter is for members and partners. Housekeeping uses the service corridor. I meet her eyes, heartbeat level with the watch's tiny ticks. I am a partner, I tell her. And I have a booking. My grandfather's watch says 10:45 a.m. 15 minutes until the $280 million partner meeting that took 6 months of midnight calls and red-eye flights to stitch together. 15 minutes for a lobby that doesn't see me to decide what I'm worth. If this collapses, I don't just lose a contract. I lose the only currency that spends in my line of work, reliability. One missed handshake becomes a story people tell in rooms I'm not in. Noah can't land the plane. Deals drift on reputation like boats on current. One leak and you're bailing forever. I breathe once, slow. The paper in my hand says I belong. The watch on my wrist says I'm running out of time. Sequoia House sells the kind of quiet that comes with a password. The lobby smells like cedar and wealth. The artwork is all muted landscapes that look expensive because they don't try. Conversation here happens in lowercase. Whispers at the concierge desk. Murmurs by the velvet ropes of the members' lounge. A man in a navy blazer gets a nod and a key before his shoes finish squeaking. I get a stare like I've brought rain inside. Security drifts the way sharks do, unhurried, inevitable. A guard in a slate-gray suit rifles a delivery driver's backpack under a sign that says, "Random checks keep everyone safe." Another guest, young, tattoo peeking from his cuff, gets waved into the bar without a glance. The rules aren't printed. They're performed. Above us, the lobby screens flicker from Ranch Sunset slideshow to the ballroom wedding live feed. Some AV tech must have crossed wires, because suddenly our desk standoff blooms across every screen. Me at the counter, Megan's hand near the red button, the paper in my grip glowing like a guilty thing. The bride's veil dissolves to my face in HD. The whole room turns to watch, drinks paused midair. "Sir, you're obstructing check-in," Megan says, louder now that the room is listening. My grandfather's watch ticks steady against my pulse. I keep my voice even. "I'm just asking you to look up my reservation." She leans back, the practiced indifference of this place settling like a shawl over her shoulders. "Members and partners only," she repeats, eyes flicking past me to the blazer crowd, to the people who belong by design. The screens catch the angle of her chin, the way I have to tilt my paper higher just to stay visible in the frame. "I think you've got an E42, I say, keeping my tone neutral. Cross-property alias. Carter and King Holdings shows as a walk-in, when the corporate rate doesn't inherit from the parent profile. I angle the confirmation so the overhead light doesn't glare. Try searching by company, not last name. Megan's smile doesn't reach her eyes. That's not how we do things. On the screens behind her, my face splits into a grid lobby cam, side cam, ballroom spillover. I watch myself become a lesson in someone else's training video. "You also have a board access line," I add, softer, like a suggestion instead of a challenge. "It bypasses the front desk queue for partner issues. 2 minutes and we're done." She taps a key with theatrical patience. "We don't use that number. If you were really—" She stops, letting the sentence hang like a velvet rope I'm not allowed past. My grandfather's watch ticks on, steady as a drumline. I set the printed confirmation flat on the counter, not pushing, not flinching. "Look up Carter and King," I say. "Then call board access. I'll wait." The manager arrives like a storm in heels. "Tara Collins," she says, flashing a nameplate smile that doesn't bend. She doesn't glance at my confirmation. She looks at my shoes, my jacket, the overnight bag I packed like a chessboard. "You're not authorized to be here." A guard peels off the marble pillar, broad shoulders, slate suit, crew cut. His badge reads Frank Doyle. He plants himself a half step inside my space, hand hovering near his radio like we're about to rehearse a script he knows by heart. "Sir," Tara says, tone clipped, "this is your final warning. You're trespassing." On the lobby screens, our scene turns into a split-screen drama. The ballroom kiss in one corner, my face in the other. The feeds chat, maybe the wedding app, maybe the hotel's channel, erupts in bubbles. "Be strict with policy," someone types. Another, "This is obvious profiling." Hearts float up the screen like it's a game. My grandfather's watch ticks loud enough that I can feel it in my palm. "I have a confirmed reservation," I say, keeping my voice low. "And a meeting in." I glance at the watch. 12 minutes. Frank squares up, a wall with a pulse. Step away from the desk. I slide my booking confirmation a fraction closer to the edge. "I'm not obstructing anyone. I'm asking you to follow your own process." Tara folds her arms, the verdict already written behind her eyes. Process doesn't involve guests dictating our internal lines. Take the service corridor or I call APD. On screen, the comments split harder. "Rules are rules" versus "he said board access." Someone types, "Recording this." Another, "Sequoia House is cooked." The watch keeps time. I keep my ground. The paper stays between us. Flat, clean, undeniable. 12 minutes left. I take out my passport. The blue cover catches the chandelier light like a shard of sky, the eagle crest winking at the cameras. I set it on the counter beside the booking confirmation, square and deliberate, the way a pilot sets down a logbook. My grandfather's watch ticks through the pause, carving out a clean, unshakable second. "I'm staying here," I say, voice steady enough to quiet the fizzing chat on the lobby screens. "My guest must find me in the lobby." Megan's lips part, then flatten. Tara's chin lifts a millimeter, calculating the paperwork of removing someone who has just identified himself beyond doubt. Frank's hand rides the radio again, but he doesn't press. The ballroom window shows a swirl of white dress and applause. Out here, you can hear a glass set too hard on a table 3 couches away. "Sir," Tara says, careful now, "you can wait outside." "I'll wait here." I tap the passport once, not a challenge, a period. In full view. On the screens, my passport blooms in crisp focus, seal, name, photo. A bubble in the chat. He called it, "Lobby is safest." Another, "Clock's ticking. Let him check in." The air changes in that imperceptible way systems do when someone declines to step off the marked path. I shift my bag to my feet, center my shoulders, and let the watch keep time for all of us. 11 minutes. A man steps out from the leather club chairs, late 60s, razor-parted silver hair, navy suit that still fits like it did in the 90s. A small redwood pin glints on his lapel. He doesn't look at Tara or Megan. He looks at my passport, then at me. "If you're really a partner," he says, voice dry as the cedar in the walls. "What's RevPAR?" The lobby hushes like someone dimmed the HVAC. My grandfather's watch taps my wrist. 10 minutes. "Revenue per available room." I answer before the second hand clears its mark. "Room revenue divided by available rooms." A beat. His eyebrow flicks. "And hours." "Your weekday dip isn't occupancy," I say, keeping my tone even. "It's a rate mix problem. You're discounting too deep to base segments Monday through Wednesday. ADR's bleeding, so RevPAR drags. Groups are blocking premium kings you could sell at transient. And your fences are leaky, last-minute packages undercut direct. You look full on paper, but you're selling the wrong rooms to the wrong guests." On the ballroom feed, a bridesmaid freezes mid-toast while the lobby mics catch the word, "leaky." In the chat, "Okay, he's not guessing." Another, "Rate mix equals real." The man's eyes crease, not unkindly. "Name." Noah Carter. I tipped the confirmation toward him. Carter and King Holdings. Frank shifts his weight back a half-inch. Megan's fingers leave the keyboard. Tara lifts her chin as if to speak, then doesn't. The man nods once, a tiny gavel. Walter Briggs, he says. Member since '98. My watch ticks on, steady as a drum. 9 minutes. The elevator dings and a bike courier steps out. Helmet under one arm, high-vis jacket glaring against all the cedar calm. He walks past Frank like gravity chose me and not the security desk. A padded envelope rides his palm. Delivery for N. Carter, he says, loud enough for the cameras. Board access. Megan's keyboard stops, pretending to type. Tara's smile trims thinner. I sign with the same pen I used on the contract drafts. The ink still steady despite the watch counting down. 8 minutes. Inside. A hard plastic pass on a black lanyard, the kind that opens back corridors without asking questions. And a spiral-bound packet stamped with the Sequoia House crest and a quieter line underneath. Service performance audit, front desk. Q4, Q2. I flip it open to the flagged page. Numbers don't flinch when a room stares at them. 18 guest complaints attributable to one agent in 12 months. I read voice neutral. Retention down. Direct cancellations up. Estimated losses. 1.9 million due to preventable service failure. Someone near the bar whispers, "That's specific." On the screens, the document fills a quadrant. Tidy rows, column totals, timestamps that look like tiny verdicts. In the Lives team chat, "Oh damn, receipts." Another, "Who runs board access?" Tara tries to snatch back the room with process. "You have no right to internal documents." "I do," I say, still reading. "Per owner's certified board access authorization, partner class." I hold up the lanyard. The camera catches the etched word partner like a coin in sunlight. "It's your system. I asked you to use it." Walter Briggs steps closer, eyes on the audit, his redwood pin glinting. "Losses from poor service," he murmurs, like the stain finally shows through the varnish. Megan's jaw tightens. "That's taken out of context," she says to no one and everyone. "Context." I tap the table of contents. Timestamps paired with agent initials. Escalation notes empty where they shouldn't be. You've got calls dropped at minute 3, credential check skipped, board access refused. Guests logged as walk-ins when they were corporate. That E42 I mentioned? It's in here, highlighted. Frank shifts, less wall now, more man. The ballroom feed catches a ring exchange in miniature while our quadrant stays on the audit's appendix C. Complaint IDs, outcomes, follow-ups that never happened. Above us, an electrician on a scissor lift stops the glare from a flickering chandelier. He climbs down, tugging off his gloves, then removes his helmet with the unhurried motion of someone who doesn't owe the room an explanation. "Arthur," Walter says, surprised. A note that pulls heads like a bell. The electrician sets the helmet on the desk, right over the red panic button, and smiles with the kind of ease you can't rent. "Apologies for the entrance," he says, voice warm and unmistakable from investor calls and charity galas. "Light was bothering me." Megan's mouth opens, closes, opens. "Arthur Hale," he offers to the room that suddenly remembers its manners. "Owner." A current moves through the lobby. On screen, the chat explodes. "The owner? That's Hale." Rip front desk. Arthur's eyes land on my passport, then the audit, then me. Recognition clicks like a key in a well-oiled lock. "Noah Carter," he says, not asking. I nod once. He takes the packet, schemes with practice speed, and then looks at Tara, at Megan, at Frank. Each in turn, no rancor, just daylight. My grandfather's watch ticks the silence into neat, undeniable seconds. "Board access was designed for days exactly like this," he says, voice carrying to the far couches. "And for people who know what E42 means." He turns back to me and extends his hand. Not tentative, not performative. A real handshake, the kind that clears fog from glass. "Thank you for your patience," he says, "and for staying in full view." Arthur takes a breath like he's about to reset the building's foundation. Then, in full view of the lobby cameras and the wedding feed, he reaches into his jacket and brings out a black fob with a brass edge. The kind that opens every door without ever asking who you are. He places it in my palm, warm from his hand. "Noah," he says, voice carrying, "I recognize you. I'm sorry for what you've just endured." He tilts his head toward the screens, toward the chat that keeps bubbling. "The house is yours." The fob is heavier than it looks. My grandfather's watch ticks beneath it, a steady metronome under a brand new note. Around us, the room exhales. Frank eases, Megan's stare fractures. Tara's posture finds gravity. Arthur turns to the staff. "This isn't the culture I pay for," he says, not cruel, just exact. "We fix it starting now." A bellman I clocked earlier, tall, slightly stooped from a purposeful hour of moving luggage, rolls his cart closer. He sets the handle, removes a cap, and straightens to his full height. The posture is familiar from midnight video conferences, from dry jokes after grim spreadsheets. "Hope I stacked those garment bags to spec," he says, and the smile bends the room. "David," I say, and the lobby's attention whips like it heard a cymbal. My partner, David King, is in a bellman's vest and black tie, a tiny lens clipped to his lapel blinking the lawful blue of the hotel's posted CCTV policy. He taps the camera. "Mystery guest pilot," he tells Arthur. And then, because this is about daylight, not gotchas, he nods toward the discreet signs by the entrance that read "recording on premises for training and safety." 1 hour on property, interactions recorded under policy, faces blurred for non-consenting guests, audio in common areas only. We wanted to see what frontline friction looks like from the ground. Arthur's eyes take it in, the vest, the camera, the cart stacked neatly by brand and size. And David gestures toward Megan's station, to the audit still open, to me holding the master fob like a verdict. "We have what we need," he says. "Clean chain of custody. No ambush edits. Just reality." On the screens, the chat pivots from outrage to awe. That's his partner? Mystery guest program. This is how you audit culture. Arthur nods once, decisive. "Good," he says. "Then let's make this a teachable hour. For us, and for anyone watching." He looks at me. "Stay with me, Noah." I slip the master fob into my pocket next to the steady tick of the watch. It lands with a quiet click, like a key finding its home. Arthur signals to the guest relations lead and the hotel's counsel, then speaks so the cameras catch every word. "This will be in writing," he says. "A formal apology from Sequoia House to Mr. Noah Carter for the treatment he received today." The letterhead comes out, redwood crest, burnished edges. Counsel types while Arthur dictates, steady as a judge. "We extend a complimentary presidential suite for Mr. Carter and his team for the duration of their stay, with lounge access and meeting rooms as needed." He looks to me. "Your team size?" 6, I say. "Done." He keeps going. "Mr. Carter is granted temporary authority to oversee immediate service fixes as a partner representative. Systems access limited to process and metrics. No PII. Effective now through the end of his engagement." Keys clack. Printer hums. The apology begins to exist in the world. And, Arthur adds, voice softer and heavier, "Sequoia House will endow a $250,000 scholarship fund in our name for hospitality students, administered by an independent foundation. First awards this fall." He meets my eyes. Not charity. Accountability. I read the letter while my grandfather's watch keeps score in my wrist. It's all there. Specifics, signatures, dates. The fob in my pocket warms like it understands the stakes. I slide the document back across the counter. "Thank you," I say. "This isn't about freebies. It's about setting a standard." Arthur reaches for a fountain pen and signs, full name, no shortcuts. The apology is handed to me, then scanned and emailed to my counsel and, per my ask, to the board access archive. The cameras catch the moment ink meets paper. The room sees it become real. We circle the counter like it's a war table. I set the master fob beside my grandfather's watch, brass and steel catching the chandelier light, authority and time, side by side. Arthur nods once. What do we change today? Everything that taught this moment to happen. I say. We start with training, not as a slideshow but as a condition of the badge. Mandatory anti-bias and de-escalation for all guest-facing staff. I outline. Completed within 14 days. Refreshed quarterly. Pass/fail with observed role plays. Council adds. Completion required for schedule eligibility. The room understands. This isn't optional. Anonymous reporting channel. I continue. External vendor. 24/7 hotline and web portal. Case numbers. Tracked publicly on a staff dashboard by category and time to close. No retaliation. Zero tolerance. Signed by ownership. Arthur signs the clause where it lives on paper, and the lobby hears the scratch of ink. Mystery guests once a month. Minimum. David adds, tapping his lapel lens. Rotating profiles, lawful recording only, raw audits to the board and an anonymized version to staff. We fix patterns, not people. I turn the monitor so the desk team can see themselves in the metrics that punish them. Front desk KPIs shift now. 60% service quality and NPS. 20% first contact resolution. 20% compliance. We retire average handle time as a blunt instrument. No one gets rewarded for rushing a human being. And board access? Arthur asks. It becomes what its name promised. I say. A dedicated hotline staffed by a cross-property team with authority to override. Documented in the PMS. Number posted at the desk and in confirmations. If a partner says, board access, the call happens within 2 minutes. On speaker, in view. Counsel reads it back. We tweak verbs until they hold. Arthur signs. Walter watches. Frank exhales like a man seeing new floorboards laid over a sagging room. I pick up the watch and the fob. Time and access move with me as we start the rebuild. 2 months later, the dashboards glow like morning. No guesswork, just numbers that don't blink. NPS up 45 points, complaint volume in half, first contact resolution finally outrunning escalations. Membership requests surge 55%. The waitlist, once a rumor, becomes a queue with rules. RevPAR climbs 28%, driven by weekday ADR recovering and the rate mix finally behaving. No more leaky fences. No more discounting our way into looking busy. The lobby video, rights cleared and faces blurred, turns into a business school case. Professor's email for teaching notes. Student teams debate board access. As if it were a civic institution. 2 competitors ask to license our training module. The anonymized version David and I built with legal, and Arthur earmarks the fees for expanding the hospitality scholarship. The staff lounge gets a new corkboard. Green cards for wins, yellow for frictions, red for risks. Most days the green stack runs out first. Walter comes by in his redwood pin and orders coffee at the desk just to watch the new script play out. Feels different, he says, not as praise but as measurement. Frank now coaches rookies on de-escalation, walking them through the posted policy word for word. HR finishes its reviews with counsel present, no scapegoats, no free passes. Roles shift, some titles change, and the message lands the way a gavel does. We corrected the system that taught the wrong lesson. I keep the master fob on my desk during check-ins with the board access team, the brass edge catching light beside my grandfather's watch. Time and authority, paired like cufflinks, reminding me why we did this. When I walk the lobby now, I hear the best sound a service business can make. Nothing tense, just luggage wheels, soft greetings, and the click of processes that finally respect the people moving through them. And at the end of a long day, when the screens dim and the cedar scent fades to a memory, the watch keeps time for one last thing I've been putting off. It's close to midnight when the lobby goes still. No check-ins, no clatter, just the cedar breathing quietly with the air vents. I slide into the same leather chair where Walter tested me and set the master key fob beside my grandfather's watch on the low table. Brass and steel under chandelier dusk, 2 small constellations I can hold. I take a photo of the empty room, the soft lamp pools, the polished counter that finally looks like welcome instead of a wall. I text it to my mom with a single line. Sometimes quieter means stronger. Her typing dots appear, then vanish, then return. He'd be proud. She writes, "Be home when you can." I tilt the watch toward my face and listen to it argue gently with the silence. Each tick a reminder that the loud part is over, and the real work, the steady, ordinary kind, keeps time long after the cameras go dark. I learned this the hard way. Where they don't see the person, the market sees the risk. Have you ever been unseen until facts flipped the game? Tell me your story below. If this hit home, subscribe. More accountability stories are on the way.